Good morning to one and all. Welcome back to Mumbai Municipal Corporation online educational channel. This is Vaijayanti Patil from Turbe MPS. Today we will dealing with the overview of Introduction to Biotechnology. We have already studied this chapter. This is about tissues and the types of tissues in our body. Basically, what is tissue? Tissue is a group of cells that perform similar function, that is known as tissue, right? In this chapter we have first studied about epithelial tissues. There are different types of epithelial tissues in our body, the first of which is squamous epithelial. Now when we talk about squamous epithelial tissues, the cells are polygonal in shape, they are flat and contains centrally placed nucleus. They are compactly arranged, that is, there is no intercellular spaces between it. Where is it found in our body? The inner lining of our body. Say, if we open our cheeks, inside the cheeks, the inner part, very thin layer of this squamous epithelial tissue is present. So it forms a protective layer around the tissues. Second is columnar epithelium. It is known as columnar epithelium because of the cell shape of the cell. It is column-like, rectangular, column-like with a nucleus that is placed at the base of the cell. As the cells are elongated, the nucleus is present at the base. Then you have the third type that is known as cuboidal epithelium. Again, this is known as cuboidal epithelium because of its shape, which is cube-like, and the nucleus is centrally placed. The cells are also arranged compactly. That is, there is very less intercellular spaces between it, with a basement membrane at the base. Then the fourth type is glandular epithelium. Now, this is a specialized or you can say modified columnar epithelium cell, which has a special sac in it, which can secrete or release certain kind of substances. For example, of a glandular epithelium is our sweat gland. You all know that our skin has sweat glands. Whenever the temperature rises outside, our body starts sweating. That comes out of the sweat gland. Similarly, there are oil glands in our body. Oil is excreted, especially during the winter season. Then you have tear gland in your eyes, right? Whenever the dust particles enter in our eyes, or whenever we feel sad, we feel like crying, immediately water comes out of our eyes. That is because of the tear gland that is present in the eyes. So these are the glandular epithelial tissues. Next is ciliated epithelium. Again, this is also a modified type of epithelial tissue where the upper surface, the free end of the cell, bears hair-like structure, very tiny hair-like structure, which keeps on moving, slight movement. Okay, now where are these cells present? This type of tissues are present in the organs where the movement of non-motile object is required. For example, when we engulf the food, when the food is entering from our esophagus, it needs to be carried to the stomach. So that movement where the ciliated epithelial cells are present, which helps in moving that food particles. Similarly, in the fallopian tube of our reproductive system, the ciliated epithelial cells are present. Ova is a non-motile cell. So for the movement of this ova, this ciliated epithelial keeps on moving the ova in the further direction. Next is stratified epithelium. In this, you can see mixture of all these types of cells. Okay, squamous epithelial, columnar epithelial. In between that, you may find glandular epithelium. In between that, you may find ciliated epithelium. So all the different types of tissues are combined together to form a different layered tissue that is known as stratified epithelial tissue. The best example of this is our skin. See, in our skin, we have squamous epithelium, which forms the outer layer. We have ciliated cells. We have glandular cells, as I said, tear, sweat gland and oil gland is present in our skin. So you can observe all the different types of epithelial tissues in one skin. Hence, it is a example of stratified epithelium. Now, this is where you can see locations of different epithelial tissue. Okay. See, this is simple squamous epithelium, which you can see in lungs or in the cheek region. Then you have cuboidal epithelium, which is present in the kidney, in the digestive tract. Columnar epithelium, it is present especially in the large intestine. Okay. Then you have stratified epithelium, which is present in the esophagus as well as in the skin. And pseudo stratified, it is again a modified type of stratified epithelium, which is present in the respiratory tract. Next type of tissue is connective tissue. And what is connective tissue? The tissue that helps in connecting different organs within our body. They are known as connective tissue. These tissues are made up of different types of cells. Hence, they are also known as complex tissue. Okay. Now, let us study the types of connective tissue. The first type of connective tissue is blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. We all know in our entire body, blood keeps on circulating. Okay. In our body, around 5 liters of blood is present, which is pumped by our heart. It goes to the entire parts of our body, from tip of our toes till our head, and it carries nutrient that is absorbed from the digestive tract. It carries the waste material that is absorbed from different tissues. It carries oxygen from the lungs to different parts of the body. It carries deoxygenated blood to the lungs for purification. So this is how the blood connects each and every part or each and every organ of our body. Hence, it is known as connective tissue. Talking about its composition, blood composed of different types of cells. For example, RBC, which is also known as red blood cells. We all know red blood cell contains hemoglobin pigment, which is known as oxygen carrier. It carries oxygen. My lecture is going on, please. Secondly, it contains WBC, which is also known as white blood cells. White blood cells are known as soldiers of our body. It helps in protecting our body from different types of the, different types of the particles which are capable of causing disease to us. So WBCs are the fighter cells. Then it contains plasma and platelets. Then you have lymph. Lymph is similar to blood, except it does not contain RBC. Blood contains RBC, whereas lymph does not contain RBC. Lymph are produced in a specialized gland that are known as lymph glands. It contains WBCs and macrophages, which are fighter cells. Hence, it helps us in preventing our body from causing any disease. Best example of the lymph node in our body is our tonsils. The tonsils that are present in our neck region, in our throat region, they works as a filter and prevents the entry of any microorganism from entering to our brain region. Okay, so lymph is protective in nature, as well as it also baths all the tissues and cells that are present in our body. So it also helps in hydrating the tissues and the other organs. Next is alveolar tissue. Now this is gelatinous connective tissue because the matrix, it is made up of gelatinous substance. Uh, it contains, it is also known as fibrous connective tissue because it contains different types of fibers like yellow fiber, which is known as elastin fiber, white fiber, which is made up of collagen protein. Because of this, it has a, it has the rigidity, and it supports the different tissues and organs in our body by providing support or rigidity to that organ. It also contains macrophages and the fat cells, which helps in fighting the microorganisms, disease causing agent. Next is adipose tissue. Adipose tissues, these are specialized tissue which contains fat cells. This tissue, it keeps on storing fats. Whatever extra fats we consume, it is stored in the adipose tissue. Whosoever eats at larger quantity, you can see the adipose layer in their body when they become fat. Now this is stored especially below the skin, in the arm region, in the thigh region, in the stomach region, or around the vital organs like heart and all. Okay. So now, why is it needed? See, first of all, it provides insulation. Whenever there is colder climate, it maintains the temperature of the body. Secondly, it helps, or it serves as a storage of the fat which is consumed while starvation. When someone is starving for longer period of time, all this fat present in the adipose tissue is absorbed to provide energy to the body. Then the next is cartilage. Cartilage is also known as soft bone. Okay, this is made up of fibers and chondrocytes. It consists specialized cells that are known as chondrocytes. There are empty lacunae in which the chondrocytes are present, which are embedded in the fibrous matrix. Now, where is this adipose tissue present? It is present at each and every joint, in between the joints of the bone. Okay, in our vertebral column, in our knee, the kneecap that we call, it is also a adipose tissue. Sorry, it is a cartilage tissue. Our nose tip, our ear pinna, that is the adipose tissue. It is a flexible tissue. See, uh, you can twist your ears, okay, because that is the flexibility of the cartilage. Now, we all know the shape of our ears, the shape of our nose, it is all maintained because of the adipose tissue. So, function of adipose tissue is to provide support, to provide shape of the particular organ, and it also acts as an, it also helps in providing lubrication while the movements of the joint. Next is bones. Now we all know our entire body contains bone, from the head to the tip of our toes, fingers, everywhere bone is present. Our entire skeleton is made up of bone. When we talk about its composition, the bone has the matrix that is made up of calcium and phosphate. It contains the specialized cells which are known as osteocytes. Okay, osteocytes are embedded in the matrix made up of calcium and phosphate. That makes it strong. That makes it strong. Okay, then what is the function of bone? It provides shape to our body. Okay, now remember, according to the shape of the size and shape of the bones, the structure of our body changes. So it provides the shape of our body. It provides support. Because of the bones, we are capable, bones and the joints in the bone, we are capable of moving from one place to the other place. Then it also provides protection to our vital organs. For example, we have the rib cage in which we have our lungs. Below the lungs, we have our heart. So it provides a protection to that organ. Our brain is protected by the cranium or the skull, that is known as skull bone. So bone also provides protection to the vital organ. Our vertebral column, it prevents or it protects the spinal cord. If we talk about the larger bones, the hollow bones, in that bone marrow is present. That bone marrow helps in production of different types of cells, that is RBCs and WBCs. So bone helps in protecting the vital tissues or the organs. Then last connective tissue is tendon and ligaments. These are also fibrous connective tissues. Tendons are made up of white fibers and they connect bone to muscles. Remember, tendons are made up of white fibers and they connect bones to muscles, muscles to bone or bones to muscles. Then the next type of connective tissue is ligament. These are made up of elastin fiber or yellow fibers. These are very thin and tiny and they connect bone to bone. They connect bone to bone. Remember that difference? Tendon connects muscles to bone, whereas ligament connects bone to the bone. Next is type of connective tissue. This is a picture which will show you the location of connective tissue. See, this is the adipose tissue, the yellow structure that you see, which is beneath the skin. As I've told you, adipose tissue, it stores the fat and provides energy whenever required. Then cartilage, which is the soft, which also known as soft bone, it is made up of chondrocyte. If you see this whitish structure in between the bone, this is known as cartilage. It prevents the friction. Now see, when you take this this hand upside or downside, there is movement. If there is no cartilage in between this, these two bones will rub on each other. So to avoid that friction, this cartilage helps. Okay. Whenever there is swelling in this cartilage, there is a immense pain. See, in the old age, people say kneecap is damaged. The kneecap is damaged. Whenever this kneecap get damaged, uska gharshan hoke wo kharab ho jata hai. In that case also there is severe pain whenever a person tries to move the legs. Okay. Then this is his bone. We know that the entire skeleton is made up of bone. Then blood, which is circulated through the veins and arteries. Okay, it contains red blood cell, white blood cells, plasma. Then you have a loose connective tissues, which is also known as alveolar connective tissue, which surrounds all the tissues. Okay, it provides supports and flexibility to the organ. Then you have the fibrous connective tissue, which are tendons and ligaments. Here you can see the muscles that is connected to the bone. This is the whitish part is known as the tendon, whereas ligament is not shown in this picture, but you can see wherever your hands, whatever the joints are present in your bone, each bone at the joint is connected to each other with the help of ligament. Next is muscular tissue. Now, in this also you have three types of muscular tissue. Okay, the first type is the skeletal tissue. In this, the skeletal tissue is elongated, cylindrical in shape. There are many peripheral nucleus. These dots you see, these are the nucleus. There are many peripheral nucleus. It is striated. Striated meaning it has the dark and light band. You can clearly observe in this picture, you can see the dark red and the light red bands on this. This is actually seen when you observe the section of the muscles under the microscope. So because of these dark and light bands present on it, it is also known as striated muscles. Okay. Now there are many along spherical nucleus on this. What is its function? It helps in movement, like writing, whenever you are running, talking, or any kind of movement. We all know that movement of our body is under our will. It is under our control. Hence, these muscles are also known as voluntary muscles. Okay. Next is smooth muscles. The structure of smooth muscle. Observe this picture carefully. Okay. See, it is tapering. That is, it is pointed at both the ends. So it is known as tapering at both the ends, and this shape is known as spindle shape. So the smooth muscles are spindle shape as compared to the muscular, that is the skeletal muscle. These cells are small or short in length, and they have only single nucleus. Each muscle fiber contains only one single nucleus, which is centrally placed. Hence, it is known as uninucleated. So remember the structure. It is spindle shape, small, and uninucleated. Now, where is location of this muscle? It is present in the soft organs of our body. For example, our alimentary canal, it contains smooth fiber, smooth muscles. Okay. Then stomach, our kidneys, our reproductive system, this all contains the uterus, urinary bladder. All these organs are composed of smooth muscles. Okay. When we talk about movement of these muscles, now we all know that see, the movement of our digestive system, it is not in our own control. Okay. It is carried out without knowing. It is unwillingly. Okay. So that is known as involuntary. So smooth muscles are involuntary in function. Remember, the shape is spindle shaped, uninucleated, small. They do not have dark and light bands on it. Hence, they are also known as unstriated muscles. These are present in all the soft vital organs in our body. The movement of these parts are not under our control. Hence, smooth muscles are also known as involuntary muscles. Last muscular tissue is the cardiac tissue. When we talk about cardiac tissue, these are the specialized muscular tissues which are located only in our heart. Cardiac, related to our heart. This is a mixed type of tissue. You can see the long, elongated muscle fibers, just as in case of the striated muscles. But these are branched. These are branched. There are many branches, as you can see in this, and they are short like the smooth muscles. And each muscle fiber contains one nucleus. So it is uninucleated. Okay, so if we talk about the overall structure, it is cylindrical, branched, and uninucleated. It shows dark and light band, hence it is also known as striated. Then now we all know movement of our heart is not in under our control, right? Hence, it is also known as involuntary muscle. Remember, cardiac muscle is also an involuntary muscle fiber. Now, the next is the structure of a very special tissue of our body, which is known as neuron. Now, why I say it as a special tissue? Because it is very, very important for our survival. Whatever response that we give to the stimuli, that is any change in the external environment, any situation that is coming in our life, it is all because of this nervous tissue. You can memorize the things, you can practice the things, you can learn new things, you can keep memories in your brain. All this happens because of the nervous tissue. Let us discuss the structure of nervous tissue. It consists of three main parts. Okay, it is also known as building block of the nervous system. It varies in shapes and size according to their location. The three main parts of this are: first is cell body. Look at this. This part is known as the cell body. This is known as cell body, which contains cytoplasm and a centrally placed spherical nucleus. Within this nucleus, there is the genetic material, okay, which is as per our ancestors. Then in the cytoplasm, there are Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, which helps in generating the energy for functions of this neuron. Now, the next are dendrites. When we talk about dendrites, observe this carefully. The branches that are coming out of the cyton, these are known as dendrites. These are actually the receiving part of the neuron. Now, what do they receive? They receive the stimuli. They receive the impulse. See, if I pinch you, it will hurt you, right? The sensation of hurt, the sensation of pinch, that is known as a stimuli. This stimuli is received by the dendrites. Then a impulse, a electric impulse or a chemical impulse is generated, which is carried out from the cyton to a extension. This is a cytoplasmic extension, which is a third part of the neuron, that is known as axon. So the impulse that is received by the dendrites passes from the dendrites to the cyton and to the axon, and it is carried on further. There is a network of such neurons in our entire body. These neurons are our windows to the outer world as well as the internal world. Whatever changes is happening in the external environment as well as in the internal environment of our body is sensed, is received by this neuron, and accordingly our body will respond. Now, what is response? See, whenever the temperature in the outer environment increases, that is sensed by the thermoreceptors or the neurons, which are specifically uh, recording the temperature of our body. Accordingly, you will feel thirsty, your body will start sweating. So all this response is generated with the help of this neuron. Now, functions of neuron. These are very specialized tissue which are meant for getting excited as soon as they receive the stimuli. Okay, so it gets excited when it receives any kind of stimuli, that is any change within our body and even outside our body. It enables us to respond to any change or any situation in our environment or in body. It may be touch, sound, odor, color. Okay. Then it senses the change within our body and the outer environment and helps our body to adjust accordingly. Just I give you the example. When the temperature outside increases, our body starts sweating. Okay, so this is to maintain the temperature of our body. As much as you sweat or whatever the temperature is hot outside, you feel thirsty, you feel like drinking more and more water. This is your body thirst increases because of the response that is generated by the neuron, so that your internal organs can be kept, uh, it can be kept fresh and hydrated. Ma'am, should I stop here? Hello? Hello. Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Ma'am, should I stop here because it will extend for longer time?
Okay,
The
ma'am.
half part is enough.